Welcome. We are on with Josh The Punk Thomson. It is a absolute pleasure to have you on, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thank you for coming on.
You're in Australia?
Yeah, South Australia, the home of Craig Jones.
Oh man, the guy that just put Chael to sleep.
Yeah, Craig Craig actually grew up like 5 minutes from my house.
Okay. And
Yeah.
where's that at?
So South Australia, I believe I'm from an area called Morphett Vale, and he grew up in Woodcroft, so it's about 5 minutes away.
Got it. And then he ended up in the States training jiu-jitsu because there's no jiu-jitsu in Australia. I mean, there's no wrestling, there's no jiu-jitsu. I mean,
No, he just started. He started at Absolute. He moved from Adelaide to Melbourne, and he started training with Lachlan Giles at Absolute with his brother Adam Jones. And then he obviously heard of Danaher and all that and made the jump over to America.
Yeah. Good, smart on his part, man. John Danaher is one of the brightest minds in the game. And have an opportunity to train with him myself and then taking a couple of his seminars. Like, he's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. I remember I went out to John Danaher's at Henzo's place when he was still there with Frankie Edgar, Ali, and a couple other fighters. Man, we had a great time. I would say 200 people packed in this little basement, on mats and people trying to drill. And like, it was pretty intense, but it's the first time I had been exposed to something like that where it was so jam packed, like where you had no room to really actually even train. So
it's like when Craig does his seminars down here now, it's the same thing. His seminars in Australia are fucking insane.
Oh, are they? I mean,
yeah, they're just wall to wall.
Man. Just fun to watch. I mean, did you watch the Chael?
Yeah, I watched CJI. I knew the Chael thing was going to end up kind of like that. I talked about it on the podcast before. Like, I had a video I made about CJI, and I was like, it just felt a little bit different than last year. This year, I don't know if Craig's whole heart was in it. I think he was kind of fatigued from the jiu-jitsu scene. It just felt like a bit like a last hurrah to me more than last year did.
Yeah, what people don't realize is that anytime you're a promoter, anytime you're involved into a promotion, just like in that you're building something, it's exhausting. It starts to, you start to see the side of a promotion, you start to see the side of the game that you've grown to love. Just, it's a side you don't want to see. You see how athletes are, how they treat you, the things that they expect from you, and then talk shit back to you. Like fighters are not easy to deal with. Grapplers are definitely not easy to deal with.
Yeah, fucking autistic.
Well, not only that, but then majority of them, they see these grandeur paychecks randomly for Gordon Ryan and for other people. They think that they deserve that because I'm this person, but it doesn't work that way. It's it's a very difficult scene to be in, and then trying to be a promoter, and probably Craig seeing that fighters are or that jiu-jitsu competitors are not really appreciative of what he's doing. You see that side of it that you really don't want to see, and that becomes difficult, I think, as someone who's putting together a promotion.
I just think also jiu-jitsu is just not made to watch 2 full days of. It's just, it's not, you can like wrap a pig up in wool, but it's still a fucking pig at the end of the day. Like, jiu-jitsu is not the most casual viewing friendly experience.
Yeah.
It just isn't. Like, even if you know what's happening, 12 hours of grappling over 2 days is so fatiguing to watch.
Yeah, it's no different than fights, right? Like,
we've gotten 2 full days of fights is.
Yeah, like this weekend coming up, you got Bud Crawford and Canelo, and then you got the UFC right after, right whatever before, and then after is the Bud Crawford fight and Canelo fight. I don't know, man. That's a lot of time sitting in front of the TV going, man, I wish I could do something else right now. You get exhausted.
The only thing with boxing cards, I don't know about you, but with me anyway, I literally will only watch the main event. Whereas if it's a UFC, I'll tune into the early pre's.
Yeah, that's common though. That's common. Like, UFC, everyone's. That's why I say the UFC is a lot different than like boxing, which we all know it is. but we can't get away from what has built this sport. And what's built this sport is having a good prelim card, having a good main card of 5 fights, and putting that together. Whereas boxing, like people only show up. I've been to boxing matches, world-class boxing matches, where people don't show up until literally like first round of the main event.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I haven't been to many. I haven't been to many UFCs, but the best UFC I've been to was Volkan Islam, number 1.
Yeah.
That like
great. That was a great fight.
Being in Australia, it was because we started the event at 7 a.m. Australian time, so we were all blackout fucking drunk by 9 o'clock in the morning, and then Volk walked out, and it felt like the stadium was going to absolutely erupt. Do you still go to UFCs and stuff?
Occasionally, here and there, I will. I mean, obviously, because I do the podcast, like we usually film right after. So going to an event makes it more difficult because then we got to film in the hotel. The quality's not as good, or you can find a place and rent a place, but then you got to get out of the strip and then get to that place to film, and then it kind of ruins the flow of the show. So, yeah. I mean, you could do a raw one, I guess, basically with your iPad and just like basically like lapel mics. But the quality's not ever as good. So there's a lot of things that we could do, and give that opportunity. But it's just fun. I don't do them as much because we normally do the pod right after.
Shout out to you and John as well, by the way. I don't watch a heap of MMA media anymore because I feel like a lot of it's just fucking gone to shit. It's just a lot of biases in it now. But I'd really tune into weighing in would probably be in my top 2 that I tune into like weekly.
Who's your other one?
I really, really like this YouTuber called The Weasel. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
I've heard the name.
He doesn't do podcasts. He does breakdowns, but he goes so fucking in depth with it. He's just like he must be really talented at just like his fight IQ or something, because the way he breaks down fights, no one does it like him on the internet. He's incredible.
I'll have to take a look at it and see. Because, I mean, there was a while where I was talking about doing more breakdowns. Because I know, like, Henry was doing them. Corey Sandhagen does a great job of breaking down certain techniques. There are certain fighters that really have an eye for breaking them down. I feel like that's more up my alley. Like, when I would work with, all the guys at our gym at AK, it was more trying to give the insight on, like, the little tiny details that make a huge difference, without having to change your whole game. That was more, like, up my alley.
He does a 6 series, so when there's a close fight, he'll do a thing called robbery review, and he'll put heavy, medium, and light strikes in the corner, and he'll go frame by frame for the whole fight, and he'll give you like the actual exact criteria of who won the fight. So with like fights that are really close, it's fucking excellent. Did you watch I was just through watching your episode you dropped today about the Imavov Bahio fight.
Yeah.
But then you messaged me and we jumped on early, so I didn't get through your breakdown of it. I really think the Fighting Nerds fucked their Gym of the Year award this year. I reckon if they didn't fuck those 2 fights, I was so upset that Ruffy lost. But Kaio I was never hell sold on, but Ruffy losing to me was just heartbreaking.
Okay, so you say that, and I actually just filmed a podcast right now this morning and talking about this exact thing. People are going to call them frauds. You're saying right now, you're saying like, hey, they kind of fucked their Gym of the Year thing. Let's be honest. No one's marketed themselves better than them. That's one. 2 is they are literally fighting guys that are in the top 5, in the top 10, whatever it is. Ruffy not having as much experience in terms of in the top level guys. This was a little bit of I'm not going to call it a fraud check, but it lets you know exactly where he is and what kind of guys he should be fighting. Kyle Mahalo didn't hurt his stock, I don't think, at all. He's got to make a couple little changes here and there. Him being the head coach there, not head coach, but like the leader of the Fighting Nerds, there's a lot more that's on his plate that he needs to start focusing more on the fighting aspect of it all and less on the gym promotion and making sure that that the workouts are done and this and that. He's got to make sure that he still maintains being a fighter first. All of that being said, but it will all be vindicated this weekend if John Silva gets the win. Like everyone's gonna be like, "Oh man, don't forget about what happened." That's how this works, right? It's the swipe right thing. It's just how fast can I get that dopamine? And, and if
Oh,
I get that dopamine fast,
sorry,
if
my
I
mic's
if I
doing a
yeah,
weird noise.
if I get
There
that
you go.
dopamine fast by John Silva getting a win, if John Silva gets a big win, I think you're gonna end up having a lot of guys, a lot of people, basically saying that it's still
Is it the
profitability.
Mexican Independence Day card this Sunday?
Yeah, Noche.
That's why they're doing Canelo and Crawford as well, because it's
Yes.
interesting. Is Dana still actively like? Is he a promoter for Terence Crawford and Canelo?
Yeah, he is
Is
the
he
promoter
helping
for that
promote
fight,
it?
for that event. Yep.
Interesting. I wonder if they're changing or dabbling with like changing the time so the events don't clash as hard.
No, they already did that. Basically, what it is that the UFC will go early, and then they'll be done. They'll be wrapping up probably right around or right before the main fight starts. So like
Yeah.
right when they're getting ready to lead into all their highlights and then their clips and stuff of showing Crawford and Canelo, like their highlights and their packages for them, they're gonna end up the UFC will probably end right around that time. I think the
Very nice.
prelims start at like 2. I think the prelims start at 2 and the main card's at 5, I think, our time.
Australia got fucked once again. We don't get free UFC events. We still have to pay for pay-per-views as of like 2026.
Yeah. But even with 2026 coming with Paramount?
Yeah. There's no deal for Australia yet. We're still on like Fox Sports here, which is KO. So we still have to pay like I think what is it? We pay $60 Australian, so we probably pay about $40 American per pay-per-view.
That's not bad. I wish I could pay that.
It's the only
we
fucking
pay double
sport in
that.
the world that charge you like a $1,500 a year to be a fan of.
I mean, boxing does, depending on based on what you do. Like, you got to remember, there was that era there where Mayweather was charging $100, almost $100 for his pay-per-views.
Yeah, that's crazy.
His Pacquiao fight, I think, was $100. I think the De La Hoya fight was like 75 or 80 at the time. And then I don't know, I can't remember what the Conor one was, but I think the Conor one was like $100 as well.
I remember I was going through your Sherdog today, and fuck, you have some names from so long ago. Like you fought Clay Guida dude, 2000 was it 2006 you fought Clay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still kind of doing the thing and doing it well. It's so
crazy,
wild.
right?
And then I totally forgot about the Eves Edwards fights, and I rewatched Gilbert Melendez trilogy today, and I was like, "Fuck, your record is so underrated."
It's just I went through some phases there where I was inactive because of injuries, and so I think also too doing everything outside of the UFC at the time. There was really the guys that they had in the UFC was Sean Strickland, BJ Penn, Kenny Florian. Those were the top, Joe Daddy Stevenson. Those were the top 4 guys at the time in my weight class. When I was up with Strikeforce. So doing things outside the UFC, we were making splashes. Gil and I were, along with some other guys, but we weren't doing because you still had Dream. Dream had Joaquin Hansen. It had Kawajiri. It had not Inoki. God, what's his name?
Didn't you fight one of the Dream boys, Yamamoto? No, Yamamoto was in Shogun. Was it Yamamoto?
No, I fought Kei Yamamoto in Shogun. Then I fought Daisuke Sugie in Pride, which was early. Like I was in 2005, I think, and something like that. 2004, 2005. And then I fought Kawajiri in Dream. I fought Kawajiri in Rising.
So did you just say you fought in Pride? Did you ever fight in Pride?
I fought in Pride. I fought Daisuke Sugie, the Amazon. Yep. It was called Bushido. So Bushido was Pride. But what it was the lighter weights.
What was your favorite era of like fighting? Because I imagine behind the scenes of Pride would have been absolute fucking chaos.
So to me, Pride was definitely hands down a huge experience for me because I'd never fought in another country at the time. And going over there and fighting, it was so eye-opening to how the promotions, this is after I fought in the UFC already, it was how the promoters and the promotion treated the fighters. Like they literally had security guards walk all around you and they treated you as if like you were the fucking president of the United States. Like they wouldn't let no one touch you. The camera, sure, they would let pictures be taken, but don't get near him. They walked me out through this, through the front of the venue, and like I wanted to get a sweat outfit. They walked me out. They got me a sweat outfit, but they wanted everyone there to see me. But it was like no one could touch you. It was a very like, I mean, I guess in this day and age term, it was like a K-pop type thing. Like don't let anyone touch him, but they can all see him. It was one of those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so pride to me was huge, but I think the glory days of MMA itself was obviously when the UFC, you had Dream, you had Strikeforce. To me, that was when the most interest from the fans were.
Yeah, and I just remember, like, I think gone are the days of competitive MMA promotions. I think the UFC's like fully monopolized it now. At least with like back in the day, you used to have like WEC, but then the UFC absorbed them. Strikeforce was legit. Pride was legit. Like there was just so many. Bellator used to be so good, and now it just feels like the UFC's officially kind of monopolized the game.
Yeah, and they've done a great job of doing that. Like they bought who their biggest competitors were. They took over. They bought Pride, then they bought Strikeforce. Those were the two ones that they needed the most. They needed Pride because they had the big names in the heavier divisions, and they needed that. The same thing happened when they bought Strikeforce. They needed the heavyweight division because that's how they got Alistair Overeem. That's how they got Daniel Cormier. That's how they got fighters in the heavyweight for Mauricio Verdun. They got him back. They've got a lot of heavyweights out of that, along with a lot of those guys in the welterweight and lightweight division. They got Gil and myself, but they also got, let's just remember, they got Nate Marquardt, they got Tyrone Woodley, they got Robbie Lawler. They got a lot of fighters back. They ended up becoming champions. Luke Rockhold, Jacques Ray, Tim Kennedy, Yoel Romero, Fei Zhao. I mean, they got a lot of guys in the 185-pound division as well. So where they lacked, I think, was the guys in the 205-pound division. They didn't end up getting a lot of guys out of Strikeforce in that division. Yeah. But there was some guys that did come over.
UFC's 205 was the shit back in the day. I think that's one of the divisions that kind of built the UFC. When John went on his tear. Yeah. But I've noticed, so I was having this argument with my mates like a year ago because I could see that 205 was kind of building up to be a fun division again, and 185 like middleweight was good because lightweight and featherweight just dominated the UFC over the last 6-7 years. It still does really. Like lightweight is just always going to be a dope division, but like middleweight is so exciting now. Light heavyweight's pretty exciting. Now that Pereira's going to fight Ankalaev again, that's kind of pretty fun. 205's making its way back. I think it was dead for a little bit. In my opinion,
I think it's still. My opinion, it's still dead. I think the 205 and the heavyweight. Yeah, the 205 and the heavyweight divisions right now are the two weakest divisions in the sport.
Heavyweight just couldn't even be there, and I wouldn't care if heavyweight wasn't there.
Yeah, that's the problem right now. And then in America, right, everyone wants the heavyweights to be the best, and that's the problem. Yeah. There's not enough top level heavyweights for people to give a shit about. So that's the biggest problem.
Yeah. And when you were fighting, obviously lightweight would have been like a pretty fucking tough division to be in. There's just stacked.
When I was first with it, BJ Penn had just went up to 70. BJ and I used to train together at AKA, and then you had other fighters that were kind of making their way down. Sean Shirk made his way down to 55. Kenny Florian made his way down to 55. When I was with the UFC, the first stint, I was the last fight with Yves Edwards in the lightweight division. They got rid of the division for about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. And then when they brought it back with Shirk, Kenny Florian, Joe Daddy Stevenson, BJ Penn. Like that was a stacked division. But when I left that division, it was Hermes Franca, myself, Matt Serra. We had Dean Thomas was still there. We had fighters in that division that were studs. Carl Uno was there. We had good fighters there. It just had stalled itself out. A lot of things that had happened back then, like the tournament that they did for the lightweight title with Matt Serra, Dean Thomas, Carl Uno, and BJ Penn, it all kind of just fell apart. There was a draw at the end in the finals, and they were like, "Look, we can't do this anymore." So it became a problem. It became a big problem.
When you like parted with the UFC and went to Bellator, was there like a bit of bad blood there, or was it pretty amicable between you and the company?
I don't think it's ever amicable when you're leaving one and going to another. I think I
Yeah.
had a conversation with Joe. Joe wasn't very happy. Joe Silva. He was just like, look, we offered you what we could. We're willing to go ahead and try and build you back, kind of thing. We know you're towards the end. We get it. But I was like, look, this is my last contract. I don't really plan on fighting after the next 2 years. You're trying to lock me down for a 6-fight deal. And you're trying to pay me, half of what I'm making now. And it just didn't make sense. Plus, I had a loaded front contract where I got paid up front, win or lose. I got paid the whole amount. And they didn't like those
In the
contracts, so
UFC,
they tried to dial me back.
you had a did they used to do that in the UFC, loaded contracts? So you used to
No,
get this,
they took my contract from Strikeforce. That's why.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, right. I was rewatching, like when I was watching Gilbert Miller, I didn't realize how fucking I just didn't remember how violent that second fight was, eh? That was such a fucking did that change you at all?
What do you mean?
Did that as a fighter, did that just change you a little bit, or like would that fight have changed you more, or like say the Tony Ferguson fight, which was fucking wild as well?
Yeah, the Tony fight to me was the fight that changed me. Like it was,
Yeah.
I was at the end of my career. It was, and then honestly, talking with Joe Silva after that fight was more of like, see, this is why I need to make sure that I'm getting paid. Like that was a big reason. I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys could keep throwing killers at me, like these younger guys. And Tony was, I think, 29 at the time, literally like in his prime. And 28 or 29, and here I am, 36, at the time fighting Tony, and I was on my way out. So I knew that Bellator offered me a signing bonus, Bellator offered me a flat fee, and I was like, this is guaranteed money. I could do this all day long. And
sorry. Continue. Sorry.
No, and that was my take on, like, that's why I needed to go. That's why I left to Bellator. UFC, you didn't know what they would do. They could tell you one thing once you signed the contract. They could do something completely different, and you signed for less money. I actually signed. It would have been signing for more money, but it was a win. It was a 50-50. It was like a bonus, in between. So you got, half your purse to show and the other half. So I could be making half of what I was making, or slightly more than what I was making if I didn't win. So, or slightly more if I did win. So it was a very, obviously that's how their contracts work. But I wanted guaranteed money, and then plus the signing bonus itself was more than 2 of the fights the UFC had offered me. So I got a very big signing bonus with Bellator.
Are you thinking of potentially lacing the 4 ounces up again?
No, I don't think it would be the 4 ounce. If I did do it, it would be probably the 10 ounce. I'd probably just do boxing. I wouldn't have a problem doing boxing. I think boxing is something, you can spend 6 months in, 8 months in, and get good training in, and get dialed back in, get the legs back underneath you, and just focus on the boxing aspect of it all. Right now with MMA, lacing up the 4 ounce gloves, there's a lot of wrestling involved, jiu-jitsu involved. There's you've got to condition your whole body, your neck. I mean, there's a lot that goes on to become an MMA fighter. Whereas boxing, you can just focus literally on like making sure your legs are in shape with a lot of running, jumping rope, all those things, shoulders and back. You can focus directly on the techniques of boxing. I think it's one of those, I could definitely do a boxing match.
What about some 4 ounce boxing, some Mike Perry dirty boxing?
I don't know. I haven't had that conversation with Mike Perry. I know that I've got some connections with that group. Either I would go full bare knuckle, or I would go boxing gloves. I probably wouldn't.
Who would you fight if you had like a dream scenario? Who would you try and get back the Gill? Is he active at all anymore in anything?
I'm not sure. I know he's running his gyms. He's got his El Nino training centers in the Bay Area there. I'm not sure if he's still actively trying to fight, or if he is or isn't, whatever it is. I know he's doing some promotional stuff with Scott Coker, where they do some shows in the Bay Area. They focus on building up the local talent. They're doing a good job of that, definitely. So it's great little promotion.
Cerrone's fighting, isn't he? Cerrone just got booked for a fight, didn't he?
No, he did not. No, they're talking about him fighting Andrew Tate. So
Oh,
in that kickboxing
right. I
style,
got clickbaited. Yeah, I seen that today. I must
yeah,
have got clickbaited. I saw a poster for it. And I was like, oh, Cerrone looks good. Like, post
yeah, no,
UFC
he's
career has been good to him.
no, he's enjoying his retirement. I have to get on that. I'm gonna have to get on that same stuff, that science
You
diet.
don't take it. You
Um,
haven't ever taken any TRT or anything like that?
Take a look at
No?
me. I'm still the same. I haven't changed my whole career. I've been the same weight, same size, everything. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit heavier now because I'm fat, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So even you and Cerrone would be fun. You and Nate would be fun. There's heaps of fun fights to have.
That was the fight that I really wanted to have when I went to the UFC was Cowboy Cerrone, Pettis, and then and obviously whoever had the title at the time, which was Benson. But I always wanted the Pettis and the Cerrone fight. Pettis is somebody that I could see myself fighting. He's doing boxing matches, and he's fought in boxing. He's done some kickboxing. Like he's done a little bit of everything. So I could see myself getting in there and doing that.
It's such a spin out talking. I had all these ideas in my head of what I was going to ask you, but now that I'm in front of you, I'm a bit like starstruck. You're the second UFC fighter I've had on here, and you're the
Nice.
second guest I share with Joe Rogan. I had fucking Josh Barnett on in studio.
Yeah, I like Josh, man. He's a good dude.
What?
I've known Josh for a long time. Came out of the Washington area. We kind of fought a little bit on the same circuits. Young in my career, like literally when I first started, and right before he had went to the UFC. So I'd seen him fight around a little bit, and obviously I had heard of him through everybody and some promotions and this and that. But yeah, man, like he had a fantastic career. Another one that
He's
had
a
a great
good
career.
man. He's a good
Yeah,
man. Me and
good,
him
good
got
guy.
the like 9 out of 10 fucking drunk. I don't even remember what the last 2 hours of the podcast sounded like. We just got absolutely tanked. It was fucking hilarious. But
Funny.
it's do you still do? Do you ever go on and do fight companions? You've done a fight companion before with Joe, haven't you?
No, not with Joe. I've done them several times
Brendan
with
Schwab?
Brendan
Or
Schaub. Yeah,
yeah,
so when Schaub did his, and he lived down in the Calabasas area, so I would go down and do them with them because it was a quick flight for me, or if I was already in the area, I'd do them there. But yeah, no, Brendan and I had a good relationship, and and I would go down and join his show every once in a while when he had spots.
yeah. And I actually think I watched your episode on Jackson ages ago. You've been on Jackson a few times, haven't you?
No, Big John and I were just on there probably about I'd say 6 months ago. We were on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, we were on there. I think right before sometime around I don't know. It was like February, I think, somewhere around that time.
He's
Well,
got
yeah,
a
we
fucking
were out
good
there for that.
platform. The Bear, he does
Yeah, he's put a lot of
he's nailed it.
he's put a lot of time. He's put a lot of effort into it. You know what I mean? Like he's got a nice little setup there. He's working with he's selling his chains, his watches, and all the other stuff that he does. He's got a little clothing line set up that he's doing as well. Not too much on the clothing, but he's got a good little setup that he's got. He's got some people training there. He's got he's got a matted area. He's got people that are working there. So it's one of those things.
And the relationship between that, like, Rampage brings to the podcast as well is just fucking excellent.
Yeah,
It's
Quentin
so
is the man,
good.
dude.
I feel
I
bad
love
for
being
him at the
around Quentin.
moment.
Yeah, Quinn's a good dude though. Quinn's a good guy, man.
Yeah.
He's obviously done a lot within the sport, but if you talk to Quinn, you get a chance to meet him and stuff. He's a good dude.
Oh man, he would be in my top 10 people I'd love to meet, or like
Yeah.
past UFC fighters. He's fucking hilarious, and it's a shame to see people just jumping and piling on him because his son obviously made a fucking mistake. But everyone's just piling on Rampage at the moment. It's like, what the fuck's he gonna do? He wasn't there, couldn't do
Yeah, look,
anything. But
the only thing you can do is do the best you can raising your kids, and then when your kids hit a certain age, I mean, that's pretty much out of your hands. They're grown adults. His son is a grown adult. His son is a
Yeah.
grown ass man, makes his own decisions. There's nothing a parent can do, outside of that.
yeah, exactly. And so for people who aren't who watch my podcast that aren't heavily embedded in MMA or any old school MMA history, Josh trained. I called it old history. That probably makes you feel old. You're not that old, but he was
Almost
part
50.
of almost. You're almost 50.
Yeah.
What the
So yeah, I'm
fuck,
pretty
cunt? You
old.
look younger than me.
Yeah, I'm almost 50, man. So
That's
that's
crazy.
funny.
Fuck. Oh, he
No.
was part of a gym called AKA,
Mhm.
and they were the super power. I reckon AKA might have been like one of the. It was you and like ATT were pretty big, but yous
Yeah.
were one of the first proper fucking super gyms. Like yous were Khabib, DC, just murderers in there. Who was like the leader of ATT? Who was the main dog at ATT, AKA when you were there? Sorry.
I mean, like we honestly we had so many guys that were there at the same time, all trying to make their way, right?
You had
So a lot of
Kane.
us
I
were,
fucking forgot about Kane. Kane was in
yeah.
his
So we,
prime when you were there.
yeah, we had Kane, we had DC, we had Luke Rockhold, we had Trevor Prangley, we had Phil Baroni, we had Gray Maynard, Tyson Griffin, myself, Habib, Islam. We had little Umar. Umar was only 19 at the time when he came into the gym.
Far out.
I mean, we had Zubaya, we had Abu Bakr, we shit. Who else did we have? Oh man, we had so many guys. I mean, we had Sergey Pavlovich, we had Volkov, we had shit. There were so many other
Fuck, that
guys.
was a big boy room, eh? Just
Yeah,
full of big bodies.
yeah. We had because Kane was when Kane was champion or coming up and being champion. We had LeVar Johnson. We had DC, LeVar Johnson. We had Paul Bonatello. We had
Yeah.
Mike Kyle. I mean, shit, we had a ton of guys, and Mike Swick, obviously Josh Koscheck, John Fitch. You know, we had that group. The original group was me, BJ Penn, Frank Shamrock, Bob Cook, Kelly Delonte, and Charles Taylor, and Ryan Lowe. We were the original guys. And Brian Johnston, of course, was the very first guy in the UFC when he was out of AKA. That was Brian Johnston. That was like UFC 3, I think, and then he fought again in UFC, I think like 6 or something,
Yeah.
something like that. So Brian Johnston, and then it was Frank Shamrock. Frank Shamrock was out of American Kickboxing Academy, and then I came shortly when Frank was still fighting. He was fighting John Lober, Tito Ortiz. I was there at the gym, but Bob Cook was there, who later became my manager. Like we had a ton of guys, man, a ton of guys. So the inception of the sport, but also the inception of the gym is when we built up, you know, is when we built up just a huge team. Then it went from Frank Shamrock. I was there the same time as Frank Shamrock, BJ Penn, Bob Cook, Bobby Southworth. I mean, another guy that I didn't mention is Bobby. I mean, we had a lot of top guys that came out of that gym.
How old was Khabib when you started there? Did you start before or after Khabib was there?
No, I was there way before Habib. I was pretty
Wait.
much almost done with my career when Habib came in.
So
You know,
how
I mean,
old was he when he came in to
I want to say he was
AKA?
I want to say he was 23, somewhere around there, 23, 24, somewhere around there.
Was he always that special straight off the bat, or was something that was honed over time, or did he just come from Dagestan and just start fucking people up in the gym?
No, he was really green. He was very explosive. He had really good wrestling. Obviously, everyone sees that and knew that. But I think there was nothing in the early portions of it all where he stood out a whole lot. But he also wasn't there all the time. He only came for his camps, and he came, for like the last 4 weeks, or he came to 6 weeks. He wasn't there every single day. Like he would go back home, to Dagestan, and then he would come back and train for his camps. So like we didn't see like it'd be like, hey, where'd the kid go that was really good? Where'd he go? We're trying to use him for sparring, and it's like, oh, he went back home, and then we didn't see him again until his camp came back around. But then as we started working with him a little bit more and seeing his success, and just seeing what he was doing inside the gym, I was like, man, this kid's got something. I cornered him for I think two of his first couple fights. I cornered him for the Pat Healy fight. I cornered him for the Abel Trujillo fight, and then I was there for another one of his fights. I can't remember which one. But I mean, I was there for a lot of his fights and always watching him grow. He later then became, like right around the Abel Trujillo fight is when he kind of started becoming like one of my main sparring partners and training partners, because he was so talented, man. The kid was good. Like obviously everyone saw like in the beginning portion, his striking was not as fine-tuned. You go back and watch the Charles Roos fight, like he had a lot of work to do. And then over time, he got real confident on the feet, keeping his defense a little bit more, and just letting his hands go a little bit cleaner. And look, no one was under any illusions he was going to become a world-class kickboxer, but it was like making sure that his defense was on point is something that AKA was able to help him deal with.
Yeah, it's just it was so impressive. I think that would have been the biggest like super gym in that era or ever. That would be like the most stacked room. I think Killcliff have a pretty stacked room, or they did at least. Maybe like fourth, or they still got like a pretty fucking stacked room, but nothing like AKA was. I don't believe AKA would have just those sparring days would have been fucking dreadful. It would have
they were
hammer after hammer after hammer, and just if you're the nail, it would be just the most torturous fucking 2 hours of your life. But that's why so many champions were bred there.
Yeah, it was. But you know, Killcliff, what they have is they've got a lot of names, but not a lot of champions out of there. You know, like they've had a lot of names, they've had a lot of like top 5 fighters, but they don't have a lot of champions out of there. Whereas AKA, and also too, AKA built a lot of their fighters homegrown. Luke Rockhold came straight out of Santa Cruz and never fought, came in AKA and then started training, became a fighter. Daniel Cormier came straight off the wrestling mat, came straight into AKA, became a fighter. Cain Velasquez came straight off of the wrestling mats, you know, and then became a fighter. Like AKA built their fighters. And grew. Like I had fights before I came to AKA, but 90% of my career was built in that gym. You know, working with Bob Cook, working with Javier, working with Frank Shamrock, working with guys. So a lot of what other gyms do is fighters bounce from gym to gym. They get a little bit of a name, they leave their small gym and they go to the big gym. Well, that's kind of what I did, but I mean, majority of my career was spent at AKA.
And then you had TriStar as well. They had Rory McDonald and GSP, but they never really bred. I think GSP was kind of the flagship. Obviously, it's going to be hard to top that.
Yeah.
But,
absolutely.
Yeah, and
I mean, look,
also
you had Pat Militich's gym. I think was the very first super gym, right? You had Tim Sylvia, Pat Militich, Matt Hughes, and then you had
Extreme Couture was pretty proud. Had some demons in there.
Extreme Couture is still big. They're huge. You know, just that they're not they're not run by one trainer. There's a bunch of different trainers that are in there that get picked up. You know, that train certain fighters. You know, certain fighters pick their trainers, and some guys go to what's the other one called? It's out of there. You have One Kick Nicks. You also have Wood. What's his name?
Wood.
I can't remember. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, is he the African American dude?
No. No. But he has another gym over there. I can't remember. God, it's right on top of my tongue. I can't remember. But anyways, he's got a good gym there as well, though. But a lot of the guys they cross train at his gym, and they train at Extreme Couture's.
I actually wanted to ask. I never thought I'd be talking to you and I could ask you this question. Do you think there is a big enough sample size now for Khamzat Chimaev?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Look, I know I was given a little bit of
fucking beating him. I don't think anyone in that division's beating him. I don't think Imavov is. Nah. I don't think anyone can handle that fucking first 8 minutes. But and now that he's it looked like he learned. I think the weight cut to 185 to 170 was just fucking killing him. I think that was just killing him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I said this multiple times on my podcast on the Wayne In Show, was that literally it comes down to him trying to get to 70 just was affecting his conditioning, his cardio. You see it all the time on guys that cut too much weight. You saw it with Islam and Volkanovski in their first fight. He wasn't giving them a lot of 36 hours to rehydrate it, and you saw it. You saw the effects of that. You saw the second fight, which I know it was on short notice and this and that, but then you see Islam, how he performs when he has a full time to recover, and there's a big difference between what you saw in the first fight with Volk and what you've seen before from Islam. So recovery is huge anytime you're cutting that kind of weight, and I think with Chimaev, that him cutting that amount of weight was counterintuitive. Like, he just should never have been trying to do it. I don't think he should ever be allowed to go back down to 70. He can't make the weight. You know, he's made it one time, and then he missed it by 8-9 pounds. So keeping him at 85 and maybe even potentially taking him up to 205, there's reason to be there. Like there's a chance for him to become a 3-division champion. He potentially, because he is so tall, he could try to fight a heavyweight. I think he'll have his hands full, but he could.
Chimaev, really?
Yeah,
I'd like to see him at 205.
No, for sure. But I'm saying if you want to try to, if he's that guy talking about trying to be the greatest ever, like being a 3-division champion would put you right there as trying to be the greatest ever.
If I honestly think the only thing that can revive heavyweight, besides obviously John Jones coming back, which he actually said in an interview like fucking 4 hours ago, he was doing an interview and he said that he's not retired. He's like actively training for the White House guard. He's just fucking delusional, but I love John Jones, but he's like, his nightmare of a person to deal with, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but when Dana tells you like, I'm not sure I'm going to have him be on the card because I don't want to deal with it, that lets you know that they obviously they didn't end the way that they wanted to end in the negotiations with Tom Aspinall. They expected more. Look, I think having John on the card would be great, but if the UFC doesn't want to deal with it, doesn't want to deal with it. I also believe that when you have a 2-time Olympic gold medalist in Kayla Harrison, and potentially the biggest fight in female history is where you have Amanda Nunes for coming back and her fighting a former teammate and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, you make that the main event on the White House card. Now, whoever else you put on there, you stack that card 5-6 fights, whatever you want, but if you're going to have an American,
it's got to be Pereira and Tom.
Yeah, but you got to have an American.
I'd love to see Pereira and Tom. Oh yeah, that's the thing. But is there a current American active champion? Is there a UFC champ that's American besides Kayla? No,
that's it.
That's it. Fuck, that's crazy, isn't it? That's bloody. The Aussies have been having a good crack at it.
I mean, we could claim Marab now that he's got his U.S. citizenship, but I don't think that's going to go over very well.
No,
so
that's 2 phone calls to ICE. We'll send him back.
Yeah. I mean, there is potential for some others, but I mean, it'll be like Sean Brady has a shot at 170 of becoming the champ before the White House card.
He's not going to. No one's touching my boy JDM. JDM's going to kill all of them,
Islam's going to walk through. Islam's going to walk through your boy.
No, he is not, Josh. You've lost your fucking mind. You've lost your fucking mind.
He's not going to walk through him. It's going to be a very, very tough fight, but I'm going to give it to Islam.
Honestly, I'm probably being a bit in your own words. I'm probably being a bit of a homer, but
a little bit. You think?
Oh man, I honestly give it 70%, 70-30 JDM's way.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it could that's bias. It could be 60-40, but I do favor JDM just because obviously Islam, you would know better than anyone. He obviously would train with big bodies all the time. I think obviously when you're in the fight, I think that initial like collision with JDM will, I don't know how he's going to take that. How he's going to take that in his head when he's like, oh, fuck, this guy is big and he is strong. He's the biggest and strongest dude I've fought in the octagon. Is that going to, like, that's the angle that I'm coming at it from. Skill-wise, Islam can just come in and do Islam shit and just fucking ragdoll him, realistically. It's a very interesting fight. It's a very interesting fight.
I look at, excuse me, I look at Islam and he's going to have his hands full on the feet because JDM's going to bring the different types of boxing. The physical size, I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. Islam's not a small guy. He walks around, he's about 5'11", walks around about 185. And so I know that JDM walks around a little bit bigger, but Islam's always tried to keep his weight kind of under control so he can make the weight. That's one. Two is he's now able to just to lift and let his body do what it should be doing.
He'll walk in a lot bigger.
Way. He's also had a long enough time to put the weight on properly. And we saw that with Max Holloway when he fought Dustin Poirier the first time. He wasn't able to put the weight on properly and he lost. Then you see him when he comes back and fights him the second time and puts the weight on. He just come back and fought Justin Gaethje when he put the weight on properly to go to 55. He had success. Then he put the weight on properly again. And when he fought Dustin, he beat Dustin the last time. It has to do with how he puts the weight on, how he is able to get his body used to carrying that amount of muscle. And I think a long enough time has passed that he's been building this up. I think it's the right time for him in the career to go up. JDM, I've had conversations with Khabib about this, is that JDM is definitely by far the toughest fight he's ever had in his career. So they know that, they expect that, and it's going to be a very tough fight, especially after what they saw.
If he collects the scalp, though, if he collects JDM's scalp, that is such a fucking impressive name to put on your resume.
It is, because people overlook JDM as if like Islam's going to walk through him, and I'm like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a very, very tough fight.
Back and forth.
Look, Islam will be able to, I think, take him down, and he'll be able to, I think, hold him down a little bit. But where I think JDM's going to have to be very careful is he can't put his head and neck in the wrong position. Because you leave your arm out at all, Islam will take it. You leave your neck out there, he will take it. Like his submission game it's intense, man. It's intense. It's very active. He's very good in these positions. If there's one thing I feel like JDM lacks, is going to be that submission defense when it comes to Islam. People underestimate Islam's grappling game all the time. And even when I told people for months that he was going to submit Charles Oliveira, and people thought I was fucking crazy. I'm like, nah, he'll probably submit him in the first 2 rounds. I said, sorry, first 3 rounds. And he did it in round 2. It just was one of those. It was one of those things. I've trained with him. I know how good he is. JDM is by far and hands down going to be the toughest fight of his career.
Yeah, and have heard a little rumor that Craig Jones will be moving down to Australia from, like, basically now to when the fight is to be in his camp, because he's obviously finished with CJI and stuff. I think he's leaving Texas, and I believe he'll be with JDM like every day until the fight.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and we're going to see how it all plays out.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. That and the fucking November 15th card. I think it's November 15th for you guys. It's November 16th for us. It's just such a good card.
Yeah, it should be. I think it's going to end up being a good card. I think, obviously, that main event's going to get a lot of love, a lot of attraction. So it's going to be a fun fight.
Do you still train?
A little bit here and there. I'm like, mainly just train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
With the old dads, the 50-year-old dads. I'm working with them. So we all got dad bods now, and we're all trying to get after it.
Because you own gyms, don't you?
Well, I do have my own gyms. I don't have any here in Texas because I live in Texas now. But I've got my gyms are in California that I still have, and then but I will probably be opening a gym here at some point, sometime. I have younger kids, so I'm waiting for them to get a little bit older, so I can dedicate more time to actually my gym, and then let the kids kind of start developing. They're doing it themselves. I want to spend as much time with them as I can while they're still young.
How did you and John form a relationship, like, because you started doing media for Bellator? Is that how you and John became closer to start the podcast?
Yeah, we got close during that time. It was like we were co-hosts, at the desk, and then we were cage side. I met. We were calling fights, and then I got done doing the cage side stuff and started doing the desk talk, and they kept him down cage side. It was just one of those things where we just kind of always had things to talk about when it came to fight talk. And coming from it and working around people, then none of them had really ever worked in the industry outside of just TV. But none of them had ever fought. None of them had ever trained. So John and I were kind of always the ones bouncing off everything inside the fight truck, or the production truck, or whatever it was. So having the conversations with the fighters as well, and them having relationships with us. So John and I always had a good relationship. We built a good relationship. Funny thing is, John reffed my very first fight in the UFC, and he reffed my very last fight I ever had. And so it was just kind of funny. And then we just kind of talked about it, and we built a friendship and a relationship, and that's how we started the podcast.
Your last fight was with Patricio, yeah? Pitbull?
Yeah, Patrici, not Patricio. Patrici.
No, it was Patrici Pitbull, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Big John was, oh man, I'd fucking loved. Your dynamic is always heaps fun, because you obviously disagree on heaps of things, and it's good to it's fucking hilarious. If no one's seen it, it's fucking good. It's good MMA content.
So what
John
it is he's got a referee's perspective, which is always completely different than what a fighter's perspective is. Like I talked about the fights, on Saturday night, a lot of them being stopped too early. And he's like, no, good stoppage on this one, good stoppage on that. He kind of can see when something was stopped. He says, I can understand why you see it that way. But as a fighter, we want the nail in the coffin. We want to be able to fight to the bitter end, and whereas the referee is looking at the fighter's safety. So we battle a lot about that. And then we also battle just strictly about like a fighter's responsibility and then a referee's responsibility, and we battle a lot on the fouls, on when you should take a point and when you shouldn't, and like, no, you got to give him a warning. No, why am I giving you a warning? The guy legitimately put 3 fingers in the fucking fence and grabbed it. Why am I not taking a point? Well, it wasn't egregious. Well, what is egregious? That's all a matter of opinion. So like we battle on those kind of things a lot back and forth. And hey, how can we get some new rules passed? On the knees to the head of a grounded opponent, all of those things that will change the game, drastically. But, but we also, because he's older and I'm a little bit younger, I mean, he's almost 70 and I'm about to be 50. It kind of that 20-year gap, it makes for fun conversation. I call him an old head. He calls me, whatever else he wants to call me. I don't know. He calls me a bunch of different things. So, you understand what I'm saying? Like, he's the old guy, and he's been in the game since the beginning of it. And I know I came in the mid-tier. There's a lot of conversations that we have that are just fun.
It's funny because sometimes you say some shit and I'm like, what the fuck? I was at work and I had my AirPods in and I was carrying something and I can't remember. I think it was the Prates knockout. Who did he knock out? Did he knock out Jeff Neal?
Jeff Neal.
Jeff Neal. And you were like, it could have been an early stoppage. I don't remember if you said it in that way. And I was like, what the fuck? It sounded like when Cyborg broke his skull.
I did say it was. I go, look. I thought maybe it could have been early stoppage because the way Jeff Neal fell, he was still looked like he was looking at the ref and he was looking at his opponent. But then I talked to Jason Herzog, the referee, who was in there. He's like, no, his face was glossed over. He was done. Yeah. He's like, I gave him a split second. He's like, and then I waved it off. And I was like, all right. But you've got to talk to the referee. John had the same view I had. You had the same view I had from the TV. And literally like not knowing what the ref can see on the face. Was his eyes all, going different directions? Yeah. Was he like getting ready to work his way back to his knees? I mean, the fight was stopped before he had an opportunity to go ahead and try and like come back. Not come back, but like to see if there was a movement he could do. But obviously the ref's like, no, he was done. He was done. So, and none of us had that view. So I had to throw that out there. Like, why did he jump in before another shot landed? Why didn't he let him get hit again? Or what did you see that we didn't see?
Yeah. And what would be, this is a hell cliche question, but what win means like the most to you? Would it be like knocking Nate Diaz out with that head kick and then following it up? Or would it be the Gilbert Melendez fight? That got you the Strikeforce title.
There was a couple fights. I mean, like for me, the Kid Yamamoto fight wasn't a win. It was a no contest, but that's the fight that got me in the UFC. So that means a lot. Beating Gil the first time because I was like I think it was a 3 or 4-1 underdog when I won the title from Gil in that fight. And then moving on, any of the fights that I had after that were all just fun, man. Like every time I left and went to another promotion and was able to win a fight, it meant a lot. Fighting in Pride was a big deal to me. Even fighting in Dream was a big deal, which kind of sucked because I lost to Kawajiri, which is a fight I should have won. I just didn't fight smart, and that was the biggest thing that pisses me off the most. I had him hurt and rocked with 5 minutes left, and then I shot a takedown, which is the dumbest thing ever. So there was fight IQ at certain points where I was out there just not fighting the way I should have fought. That pisses me off. But like I look at those moments, and man, there's a lot of moments in my career. Winning the title, obviously beating Nate, and then going to Bellator, fighting a guy. I fought Mike Bronzoulis, who had been fighting at 170, and he was like a big-bodied frame guy. Not anywhere near on my level in terms of technique, but he was just a big guy. And then doing the face-off with him and seeing that he cut down from 70 to 55, I was like, man, this guy's huge. And so I saw that he had some power and all this other stuff. So there was things that I had seen that made me feel like, hey, that I still had a little bit of it left in me, but fights that really stand out to me. The fight that really stands out to me the most, there's two. There's the Hermes Franco fight, which I won, and then there's the second Gilbert Melendez fight, which I lost. Both of those fights, and I'll even throw in Tony Ferguson, is all three of those fights have something in common. Is I got in trouble in the fight in terms of I got rocked, got dropped, or I got rocked, and still kept fighting, and either came back and I never stopped, never gave up. Like, to me as a fighter, it really just comes down to, like, you fight to the bitter end, and in all three of those fights it was there. And so those are as a fighter, that was the most important thing to me.
Dude, especially that Tony Ferguson fight, I would have legit fucking passed away. I would have fucking died. Like, and it's what was Tony Ferguson will always be, besides like maybe a Zabit Nurmagomedov if you want to throw him in, but Prime Tony is like my biggest what if in MMA. He just looked like he sucked to fight.
Yeah, it was weird. He was a weird style, like,
just funky as fuck.
Yeah, the very first time I hit a takedown on him, he like turned away and rolled forward, and I was like, "Oh, this is different. What the hell is this?" So that there was those things, and just kind of threw me off a little bit. And he had a long reach. At the time, he was a little bit faster than I gave him credit for. He didn't look as good on the striking that I was giving him credit for when I was training for him. I was like, man, he leaves so many openings. He's not as good as I think. All those things. So, that's what I'm talking. Like, it was a very difficult fight.
Do you think that you would fare well against current lightweights?
Oh no, these guys are huge, man. These guys are enormous. Like, I'm taking a look right now at the lightweight division. You've got Islam's still in there. I don't know why he's in there, but you've got Ilya Short. Yeah, he's still in the lightweight rankings. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't fought yet, I think, in the 170, so they won't take him out until after he fights in the 170.
Yeah.
Arman Sarukian would just be a fucking nightmare of a matchup. Someone who wrestles the way he wrestles, the way his aggressiveness is. Max Holloway.
You'd have to be a 45er. You'd probably have to go if you
absolutely.
fought. You'd have to drop to 45 if you fought today.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it. That's not any better. You're fighting guys like Evloev, Diego Lopes, Yair Rodriguez, Lerone Murphy. I think I would have more success in the 45-pound division, but getting to 45 every time I had to fight, fucking killing myself. Nah, it'd be horrible.
But then if you go back to the
lightweight division, it's fucking brutal. It's brutal. You've got Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker. You've got tons of guys in there. I mean, if you go all the way down, you got Fiziev. I mean, like, you've got fighters in there, man, that are just like, damn, this could be a really rough go. So 45, 55 has always been a tough go for most fighters.
Yeah.
That's what makes Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje so damn impressive with what they've done for so many years, and the same thing with Islam. Like, they were in the lightweight division for so many years, and they're beating all the guys and fighting all the best guys the whole time and not making it look easy, but digging deep every single time and still getting wins. It's impressive.
They made it really fucking hard for those young ones to surpass them to get to the title like that. And I have mixed opinions on Justin Gaethje's approach to, like, how he is going about trying to obtain a title shot at the moment. Yeah. But I honestly believe that's Ali Abdelaziz. It's probably not Justin Gaethje pushing, like, saying that he won't fight unless it's for a title. I imagine that would probably be Ali.
Well, I think it's also in a position where he is towards the end of his career, and he understands, like, if he takes one more fight, every time he takes one more fight, he could potentially lose. And if he loses, he'll never get that last shot. So I understand where he's at. I've been there. Like, hey, you just want to get the title shot, and if it doesn't work out, I can probably just ride off into the sunset. And be like,
he's going to end up on a terrible highlight reel fighting Topuria.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
We all say that. Man.
We all say that, but the thing is Gaethje's got power as well, and Gaethje's got nasty leg kicks, and so there's a lot that can be said to be done there. A lot.
I think Topuria is like a generationally special fighter. Like, I was so dirty on him after what he did to Volkanovski. For some reason, that one just hurt so much more than the Islam one. But after he beat fucking Volk, who's probably my favorite fighter, and then he went and bet my second favorite fighter. He bet fucking Charles Oliveira, and he's just killing everyone. And I don't know how you fucking stop him. Sarukian definitely has the best shot at it.
Yeah, I think Arman has the best shot. And then I guess, okay, let me ask you this. You're saying that JDM's going to beat Islam, but does JDM beat Ilya?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, so wait, so you think that everyone keeps saying that Ilya can beat Islam, but if
I don't think Ilya
JDM
beats Islam at all.
Oh, you
I
don't
don't
think
think
so?
Ilya.
Yeah.
No way. It's JDM's fucking leg weighs more than Topuria. Topuria's not a big dude. Everyone just like put this fucking thing in my head that, oh no, Topuria's actually really big. Because my mate like 2 years ago on the podcast, we were drinking and he was like, Topuria's really big. I think he'd do really well at 155. And in my head at the time, I was like, you're fucking off your head. And it turns out he is very good at 155, but he's not a big 155er.
no, he's
still
not,
small
but he
for
also,
the division.
You know, but him being matched up at 55 against Charles, you know, for the title, I mean, that was kind of a fight that was stylistically a good matchup for him.
It was perfect for him.
Yeah, having him fight Arman is I think needs to be next. And I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Max Holloway at 55.
I don't want to see him fucking kill Max at 55.
That's a different fight at 55. We've already seen that Max is a different fighter at 55 than he is at 45. And let's not forget, Max went down in weight after beating Justin Gaethje. He had to cut the weight all the way back down to 45 to fight him. And you saw that the fight, Max was doing really well against Ilya in the first couple rounds, and then he got clipped, you know, and got knocked out because the fight towards the end of the fight, because that's after all the weight cut started to have some problems. We just talked about it earlier about how weight cutting, it starts to like diminish your energy level as the fight goes on. I feel like that's what we saw with Max. So I think if they fight at 55, I think it'd be a different fight.
I don't know how you fucking beat Topuria. Like fucking another like quote from fucking Josh. You got those knees up the middle and those like fucking teeps up the middle. That front kick is gonna be so important, and just keeping him at distance, because once he fucking takes the cage away from you and backs you up on it, he just fucking lands in. He hits you with his 7th and 8th shot. He's throwing fucking Tekken combos in there. It's it's crazy.
Yeah, the like I said, until he beats Arman, though, I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but I mean, like, it's going to be one of those. Why is the UFC protecting him? Like, why? You know,
I agree with that.
He's got to fight Arman.
Well, but that's not Ilya's fault, because Arman must have done something that no one there's no way the UFC would ice him for missing weight for one fight. I don't think. I think there was way more to that story. I think he faked an injury or something.
No, for sure, he couldn't make the weight. I think that's been kind of widely talked about.
Yeah.
Was that he basically?
But don't hold it against him. Like, you've punished him. You've punished him enough. The Pimblett fight could be fun. Pimblett, I was a hater. I was a dead set Pimblett hater. I was talking shit about him after every fight. The Jared Gordon fight, I was slandering him. And then like now it's like, fuck, what do you do? He's actually really good.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I think what they're doing with Ilya, they're waiting for him they're waiting for Islam to fight JDM. If Islam wins, then they're going to
make him come back down or go up and fight.
No, he's going to fight at 170 to try to become a 3-division champion.
I reckon Pereira has more chance of beating fucking Aspinall than Topuria has beating Islam or JDM.
I mean, we'll see. You know,
I'd love to watch Pereira and Tom as well.
Situation. Yeah, it's a wait and see situation.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a tough fight. Ilya's gonna be a tough fight for anyone at 170. He'll be tough for the first couple rounds. Like for those first 2 rounds where he's got a power and his body weight, if he can stay away from them and just touch them inside the phone booth and then get out before getting taken down or their body weight hanging on him, he'll have some success. But outside of the round 2, I don't know if he'll have that success.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And shout out to Podcast Dave for helping me set this up. One thing people don't know about Podcast Dave, and I was shocked, and I sent it to all of my friends because I couldn't believe it. He's actually a fucking hot dude.
What?
I thought podcast. That's
don't say that shit.
Not in
He's
the
gonna
gay
cut
way.
this
That's not
clip.
gay.
He's gonna cut this clip and use it forever. Don't say that shit.
He's a fucking attractive dude. I thought he was just some like
man.
little redhead, like Irish or Scottish
man.
kid. He's an attractive man.
He is a Scotty, but man, do not say he's attractive, man. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. All right, man. Hey, I gotta run though, buddy. I gotta run. All right.
So do I. But thank you. No, I actually do. I will leave it here. But thank you so much for coming on. And if you're ever so inclined, you're always welcome back after a big UFC if you want to talk some shit. Maybe we can get a little promo breakdown in before Islam and JDM. We can do a friendly wager on it.
I don't bet on my friends because it's jinxing them. But you know what? We can definitely do some shit talking before the fight happens. Hit me up.
But thanks, Josh. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, so if everyone wants to go over to Weighing In, fucking incredible MMA platform, and they always have dope little breakdowns post and pre-fight.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it, man. I appreciate it. Talk soon.
Thank you.